Our second honoree, yes, absolutely. Our second honoree is Claudia López. Claudia López is one of the most visible LGBTQ leaders in Colombia, whereas mayor of Bogotá, population 8 million, she became the first LGBTQIA+ person elected mayor of any Latin American capital city. Before becoming mayor, she served in the Senate of Colombia and was the Green Alliance Party candidate for vice president in 2018. Please join me in congratulating Mayor Claudia López on her induction to the Hall of Fame. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. Such a great honor.
Thank you. It's my honor. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Well, thank you so much, really. It's such a great honor. Thanks to the Victory Institute, to all the Victory family, and to our LGBTQ+ community around the world. This is, of course, a great honor and a great pride. We all know that entering into politics is not an easy work. It could be nasty, it could be heavy at the personal level, but to all of us who believe in democracy, having voice and representation is the only way to actually be and to move forward our agendas, our dreams, our commitments to the causes that we believe in. I came from a beautiful country, Colombia, 52 million people. The fact that I've had the honor to be the first ever elected woman, a lesbian woman, to be elected mayor of Bogotá. It speaks, of course, incredibly well of my city. Bogotá is not only the capital of Colombia, a city of 8 million people, a metropolitan region of 11 million people, but it's the more diverse, the more progressive, the more critical and independent city in the country that has supported not only me, not only persons like me, not only our causes, but has supported all the progressive causes in our country. Political democratization, peace building, inclusivity, equality, and you can name any other cause, sustainable development, that is always supported in the city. And of course, it's a fantastic platform to raise the bar, to do much better in all the fields and levels that we found. I sort of tried to avoid politics almost for 25 years in my life. I was really not coming from being an activist of the LGBT community or for being an activist in the feminism and women's movement community. My path in life was in the public servant. I was a political scientist, I was a journalist, I was a social researcher, and that's sort of the field that I was coming from. Since being very young, I fought for the democratization of Colombia, a beautiful country with a political regime very close, very elite-driven, very exclusionary, not only with our own community, but with the vast majority of the people in our country, particularly the peasant and rural community. the Afro-descendant and indigenous people, heavily excluded, and their levels of poverty that are shameful and inadmissible to any democracy. So to force for peace against violence, for voice against exclusion, for representation, that's what I was fighting for since I was very young. And because of that, many generous people in my country has offered me to enter into electoral politics since I am like 20, and I'm 54 at the moment. And I always said, well, thank you, but not. I gotta finish my studies, I have to pay back the credit loan that I took to be able to go to college. Then I wanted to come and learn English, do a master's degree here. I wanted to do many things and continue working in Colombia. I was able to do the job that I did against corruption, violence, and abuse, thanks to the generous support of many, many people. Probably one of the friends that really protected me when I was about to be killed because of I am bail, the links between narco-paramilitary groups and many politicians in my country, is my dear friend, Jose Miguel Vivanco, who is today with me, and I'm very honored to have his company today. We ended up joining forces with many civil organizations in my country to protect the electoral process being co-opted by corruption, by violence, by mafias. We were able to pursue a social independent academic investigation that ultimately was taken into the highest courts of my country, and were able to prosecute and put in jail 68 corrupt politicians in our country. And to remind them that they work for us, and not the other way around.
Right.
And that they are supposed to do that under the control and legitimate means that our Constitution entails for politics, and not for their own force or power. Later on, I continue in the scholar work, and then in the year 2011, I decided to come back again to the United States to do my PhD in political science. I had the honor to receive the Fulbright Scholarship to do that second set of studies in the United States. I graduated as a master in public administration at Columbia University, and then I come back to do my PhD. And in 2013, 2 years after, I decided to come back to Colombia to do my field work about state building, peace building, democratic strengthening in my country. That's sort of my personal, citizen, and political obsession, how to build inclusive, accountable, transparent institutions, both at the economic and market level and also at the political representative level. And while I was doing that, I was called and said, you know what, the last guy that you were able to put in jail, the former governor of a region called Guajira in Colombia, was an incredible, abusive and mafia guy, man. He's about to be sentenced guilty. As you could imagine, he's not very happy with that. We have good information that he has organized a plot to kill you. I know you don't have any bodyguards at the moment because you're supposed to be a student, you're not even living in Colombia at the moment, you're just visiting. So I beg you to, leave the country as soon as that you can, because it will take like a month to organize something to protect you. So I said, well, thanks for the call. Very nice of you. And I decided to go to have my sort of medical appointments first before leaving. And when I went there to the medical appointments, I was told that I had cancer, breast cancer. I was 43. I said, well, either the gunman or the cancer, They take me over. So it was sort of a critical moment in my life. And, you got serious and reflective. If there is something I wanted to know and I haven't done, I better do it now. And so I decided to marry the woman that I love, my lovely wife, Angelica Alzano, who is here with me today. She actually won not only an amazing being, an amazing angel, but an incredible LGBTQ activist. That's how I know her, who have taught me everything I know about our community and our work and our cause. And the second thing that I decided to do was finally to run for office. Because it was not only a crucial personal moment for myself, but also for Colombia. After 60 years of civil war, after joining forces with the student movement, social movement, democratic movement, to be able to defeat the cartel of Medellin, the cartel of Cali, to denounce the parapolitical scandal, to force a government to demobilize the paramilitary groups. Ultimately, the largest guerrilla group, the FARC, was doing a peace process in Colombia. And convincing 13,000 very powerful men, mainly men, to demobilize, to surrender weapons and violence, and to become part of the political process was not going to be easy. I knew it for sure. But taking violence out of the picture was the necessary, though insufficient, condition to improve the life of Colombians, particularly of our community, particularly of children and women and working class families. So I knew it was going to be hard, and I decided to join, finally, this fight for electoral representation. So I came back to Colombia. Fortunately enough, the cancer was not that tough. I got surgery, I recovered. I went and I did a 10-week campaign with $80,000. And I was elected senator of the Green Alliance Party in 2014.
Wow.
And then I was the only woman, the only LGBT member of my party and my caucus. And of course, I had the honor, but also the responsibility to represent them very well, particularly well. Of course, all the citizens who trust me and all the citizens of Colombia. Because once you are elected to represent equally and faithfully all the people, not only your own people. Then we joined forces in 2018. We were able to demobilize finally the FARC. We did run a referendum for peace that unfortunately was rejected for the majority of the population because of fake news and because of many things that maybe we didn't understood and interpreted correctly. And in 2019, I decided to run for the mayor office of Bogotá, which was like a miracle. I compete with 3 men who, I have to say, never ever raised the woman card or the LGBT card against me. And that speaks very well of them, of course. But also that speaks very well of my city, because they knew if they dare to do so, they will be penalized by Colombian and by Bogotan society. Only one candidate for the City Council of Bogotá made his entire campaign based on a very nasty and homophobic platform. He was not elected, and I was elected the first woman and the first LGBT person to that office. And as you could imagine, full of hope, full of energy, joining forces with an incredible team, among which my dear friend Luis Ernesto Gomez is part of, and I have the pleasure for having his company today. He's sort of my first hand, my left hand, my all hands in my political career. And we were full of hope, ready to go to offer a new social and environmental contract for Bogotá society for the 21st century. But a couple of weeks after being sworn into office, the pandemic of the COVID-19 came in. And so 1 year after, all my friends, here in the Victory Institute in the United States, in my schools, were asking me, well, Claudia, how is it going? How is it going in Bogotá? How is it going the term in office? And I said, well, let me be clear with this summary. Everything that I came to improve has worsened. Everything. Health, of course. Unemployment triples. Poverty triples. We have a pressure in the budget for everything. We need to accomplish what we promised. So it was a very challenging time. But I'm very proud to say that we didn't renounce to one of the things that we offered in the campaign. Quite the opposite, we doubled down in the social investment, in the social recovery, in supporting business in my city to recover employment, in the full environmental agenda what we offered. And we did not only what we promised, but more of what we promised. The youth in our cities who need support, who are asking for education and a meaningful job in this century, I offered them 20,000 scholarships if I was elected mayor.
Wow.
We ultimately were able to convince the business community, the city council, to offer 78,000 scholarships instead of 20,000. Because they need it. And the social and economic recovery of our city needed even more. We agree with the social, feminist and women social movement of Bogotá to bring the care economy into the mayor's office, to take it seriously. 52% of Colombia's economy is informal. 32% of Bogotá's economy is informal, meaning our people don't have a minimum salary, a health insurance, a pension when they get older. But we all need care when we're children, when we're elder, when we got sick. Who provides that care? Because we all need it and we all get it. Women provide that care. Unpaid care work done by 1.2 million women. That's the most important social security system in my city. Nobody pays them a penny, and nobody helps them. Not surprisingly, half of them are under poverty. Poverty of time, poverty of income, poverty of opportunities. And on top of that, because of cultural machismo and patriarchalism, people think that this is normal, that women are supposed to do this for free and to sacrifice their entire lives and opportunities for free. So I always said, people of this world, men of this world, you're welcome to learn to care. If you don't know how to take care of your own children, we can teach you. If you don't know how to cook, we can teach you. If you don't know how to do the chores at your home, we can teach you. Care work is not something that we women were born in our DNA. It's something we learn, and we do with love. But we don't have to do with sacrifice. And to prevent that from continuing being the normal in our society, we create the first in Latin America city-based care system. Using the social infrastructure that was already in place, adding tailor-made services to take care of the care receivers that needed care, to take care of the women caregivers that were giving it, to recognize, reduce, and redistribute unpaid care work from over the shoulders of the women, and to provide a third service, which is cultural transformation. The School for Men to Learn to Care is the first and pioneer in Bogotá. We were able to serve 680,000 women and to live out of poverty, half of them, during the 3 years, with 24 care blocks in Bogotá, which won the award as the best social innovation of the world in 2023. And of course, I cannot end without mentioning the work that we did for our own community. I didn't stand, I have to say, that I might be the first woman, but not the first progressive mayor of Bogotá. Bogotá has had fantastic mayors, with one exception. One. A man who ended up in corruption in a very shameful way and was finally put in jail because of that. Beyond that exception, there might be mayors, center-right, center-left, left, independent, but really great mayors. So the bar was not an easy bar, which is good. It forced you to be much better. There was, because of the work of LGBTQ activists and leaders such as Angelica, such as Virgilio Arco, such as Marcela Sanchez, just to mention a few of the great, great, great leaders of Bogotá, but also thanks to the work of a great friend also like Wilson Castañeda from Caribe Afirmativo, who is a great friend of mine and who has the pleasure to be here with me today. Thanks to all of them, to the fight for generations and for decades, Colombia had already an LGBTQ, very progressive public policy in place. We have 2 houses and institutions devoted for the services of our community, for preventing violence, for fighting against police abuse, for example, to try to bring opportunities to our community. But they were sort of located in the center of the city, in a very well-known locality in Bogotá called Chapinero, which is sometimes known as Chapigay. That's okay, you know. That's okay. But Bogotá is much more than Chapinero, and much more than Chapigay. And it's a very impressive city, but it's also a very segregated city. So income opportunities, employment opportunities, social opportunities are not equally distributed throughout the city, particularly in the south of Bogotá and in the west of Bogotá. Many poor working families and persons are there. They need much more better services or quality. So we were able to triple the budget for all LGBTQ purposes and activities, as much as we tripled the budget for all women issues activities by first time in Bogotá's history, as much as we more than multiplied by 5 times the budget for education. I'm the daughter of a teacher. I know what love and education can do for any person. Instead of having just 2 in the very center of the city, we ended up having 5 different institutions, 1 in the south, 2 in the west, 1 in the southwest and the other in the northwest of the city. And in this fantastic June Parade Pride of Bogotá, we did the largest parade ever in Colombian history in 2023, supporting the members of our community who are most heavily attacked, who deserve not only our love, but all our support, because nobody, at least in the case of Colombia, nobody, as our transgender women and men, have such suffering and such level of exclusion. So we need to work for everybody, as we have heard here. But we need to recognize also the very inequalities that are within our own community, to try to close the gaps and to offer opportunities. So for me, that's public service. It's fighting for, it's honoring the opportunities, it's raising the bar of whatever was there before us, and it's continuing the work through our citizenship. And I know this is a hard time for us, particularly for our friends here in the United States. I know how you feel. I've been there. I've been there when we lost the peace referendum in 2016. I've been there when 3 candidates who represented independent new alternatives in Colombian politics were killed by mafia groups in 1990. I've been there when a mafia cartel was able to fund and elect a president in Colombia. I've been there when paramilitary groups were able to support and elect another president in Colombia. So I know how obscure and difficult and challenging and painful democratic times are. But we cannot love democracy only when we win. It's precisely when things are challenging, when we suffer defeats that are painful, that we need to attach to our democratic, humanistic values and principles. When we need to with humbleness to understand that maybe there is something we couldn't read properly, couldn't connect with properly, couldn't interpret properly. And so it's up to us to reconnect, to relearn, to try to understand, because there is no way to represent if you cannot connect and understand the people of your society. And so, my dear friends, that's the task we have ahead of us. To reconnect, to reinterpret, to reorganize, to re-strategize, and to move forward. Because yes, we are not going back. We are not going back in the United States. We are not going back in Colombia. We are not going back anywhere. We've come so far honoring the work of many people before us. And we will honor and leave a legacy that our children and grandchildren can be proud of. Let us know that when things were challenging and times were tough, we did the best we could. We raised the level the best we could. We raised the decency and dignity of our fight and our cause the best we could, because that's the job we have ahead. Thank you so much.
Congratulations, Mayor. Congratulations.